My husband is a child in a grown-up's body. Woke me up while I was desperately trying to get 1 more hour of sleep to scream about who ate the protein bars his mom bought him. I was trying to sleep this morning. I have insomnia and have been under an incredible amount of stress lately. So much stress that I didn't even get my period this month. This man busts in the room where I was getting 1 more hour of sleep and wants to know where all the protein bars his mom ordered him are. Well, I ate 1 box and there's another box in the kitchen. That's not good enough for him. He said I was stingy and that I'm getting wider. Like trying to shame me for eating protein bars his mom sent. He lives in my house, I own the car, the pets are mine, he lives a sweet life. I earn 3 times what he makes and now we are trying to get pregnant. And the sleep, which is something I desperately need, doesn't seem to matter to him at all. So now I get to work all day on 4 hours of sleep and I have an interview I was going to prep for. And I know with this little sleep, I'm never going to be able to more than the bare minimum of work meetings. I have a meeting with my career coach this evening. I won't be prepared to do a mock interview. I am so pissed. This man is ruining my life like an inside job. Then he fucking goes back to bed because he's off work today. My body is exhausted, my back hurts, and now apparently I'm getting fat from protein bars.
It's a tough situation. The stress, the lack of sleep, and the constant feeling of being unappreciated can take a toll on anyone.
Every day when I come home after work, my wife does the same thing. And I mean it, every single day since the day we got married. I come home to a woman that is waiting by the door for me with a smile on her face and greeting me with a big hug. It is so refreshing to come home to a house where everyone is genuinely glad to see you. Before her, I was married to another woman for 10 years. In that marriage, I would come home to a woman who was always unhappy and made me feel like I was walking on eggshells in my own home. I dreaded coming home, knowing I'd have to deal with a wife who didn't appreciate me. She always woke up in a negative mood, and it was my responsibility to give her a reason to be happy. Thankfully, she eventually cheated on me and gave me an out. The woman I married now is absolutely incredible. She constantly reminds me of how much she loves me, how attractive she finds me, and always appreciates normal chores I do around the house, taking care of the yard, garbage, cleaning, etc., all the typical house stuff. She is the most incredible, supportive, and sexiest woman I've ever known, and I will never take her for granted. Anyways, I just needed to tell someone. Coming home to a house that genuinely wants you there is something I never knew would mean so much to me.
It's heartwarming to hear about such genuine appreciation and love. It's clear that a supportive partner can make all the difference in one's life.
My job has made me despise the homeless. I know the title makes me sound like an a-hole, and I probably am. I work security at a community college and we deal with homeless on the daily, harassing students. And us, as security on the daily, they're arrogant and entitled and threaten us constantly and draw weapons on us so much that it's made me just hate them and not care what happens to them when these people put mine, my co-workers and our teachers and students lives in danger constantly, and the police do nothing about it whenever we call them. Every time we receive a call about some homeless person causing trouble, I get so pissed off inside. I used to care about the homeless, but this job has made me see them as unstable, dangerous, entitled to holes, and my compassion has been flushed down the toilet.
It's a difficult and complex issue dealing with the homeless population in such a challenging environment. The frustration and fear are palpable.
Can't be a husband or dad due to fungus. So, yeah. As the title says, around a month ago I noticed a little bit of itchiness in my nether region. It looked fine, albeit a little bit dry, so I brushed it off at the time. This was a big mistake. It took only a couple of days for it to start really itching, not just there but also in one of my armpits, my beard and my nasal ridges. The skin seemed just very dry and irritated at first, then not a day later came small skin blemishes around the irritated area. A diagnosis revealed it to be a fungal skin infection. I probably had it for a while. It was just dormant and asymptomatic. I initially started using a topical antifungal cream, but the fungal village rapidly grew out to a fully fledged fungal city over the next few days, despite consistent topical application. I was switched over to other creams, but this too seemed to have no effect. It just kept getting worse. I'll spare you the photos. It started to affect my sleep. The GP then prescribed me pills, which, however, make me incredibly sick, in no state to drive a pregnant wife to the hospital should this be necessary. On that subject, I'm going to be a dad soon. Hooray! My wife, however, was not at all pleased with the sudden onset of this aggressive skin condition and, justly so, has taken sex off the table this past month. This sucks, but to be fair, I'm not in any state to enjoy it now anyway. I've been informed that outside of the pills, my only remaining option is to effectively treat the symptoms and wait it out, let the body clean out the infection by itself. This, however, can take a very long time, months to years, which leads us to our OB/GYN appointment today. My condition was discussed, and considering the aggressive nature of this fungal infection and the fact that it seems resistant to treatment, I have been effectively banned from being a dad, once born. No skin-to-skin contact, no bathing, an urge to wear gloves when touching the newborn for the first 3 to 6 months. This just broke my heart. Between sleeping on the couch due to constant tossing and turning and tiredness, I'm so fed up. I miss my wife. I miss our intimacy. I miss sleeping without feeling the desire to burn my skin off. I want to be a dad without having to go part meth cook just to pick the little one up. But we're not finished yet. The sudden onset of fungal skin infections this extreme can be an indicator of an underlying issue such as diabetes, so more medical checkups will follow. FML. Thanks for hearing me out, Reddit. Even if no one reads it, this has already been therapeutic.
I'm a 21-year veteran educator, and I'm quietly enjoying watching the public school system in my city implode. My only regret is that the people most responsible for the implosion won't be held accountable. I used to work in the public schools here. I was there when they began making the changes which led, like we veteran teachers were warning would happen, to the current total failure that's happening with the schools here. We were told that we were not seeing the bigger picture, not being team players, not being equitable, etc. I made the jump to a private school. Not as much pay, but I get to spend my days teaching and not just surviving. The school where I teach has seen a 40% increase in enrollment in the last 5 years. What changed? The public schools nearby went to shit, like teachers like me said would happen. I remember the district-wide public school meeting we all went to in 2015 when they first started talking about programs that today we'd call restorative justice. They basically lowered discipline standards to the ground, then dug a hole for them and lowered them some more because expecting students to have any kind of discipline standards was just too much. And guess what's happening now? There's a huge teacher shortage in the public schools here. Some classes have up to 37 students being taught by a provisional teacher. That just means a warm adult body they suckered into being in the room with the students all day. Teacher morale is low and gets lower every year. My old co-workers, themselves all teaching at different districts now, share with me videos of teachers from our old district rage quitting on a regular basis. The district quit reporting student test scores because they were too embarrassing. I pity the students who are stuck in those schools. I do not pity the administrators who made the decisions which have led the schools to where they are now. All 3 of my former principals, each of whom made decisions that led to this collapse, have since retired and are collecting 6-figure pensions. They and their children will never have to deal with the consequences of what they did to the public schools here.
My fiancée tried to leave me yesterday. I was at work yesterday. My fiancée was at our home working remote. We had a small argument. I just got a ring notification for the front door and I checked it, and she was packing bags in her car. I tried to call and text her, but she didn't respond. I drove home speeding way too much. I made it back right before she was about to leave. She was on the phone with her mom. I asked her to stay. She said why. We had some of our conversation while her mum quietly listened in. We both cried. She said that she was sorry. She just kept all of her thoughts and her feelings bottled up because she didn't know how to communicate well. She said she felt dramatic and stupid for trying to leave. I told her that I was sorry and I shouldn't have started an argument. I deserve it, and you should do whatever makes you happy. But if you want to stay, I really want you here. We had a long talk. She decided to stay. But next week she is staying the whole week with her parents. Then the week after she's going on vacation with her mom. Then she said she'll come back and stay. By the way, her parents live 2 hours away, and she only recently moved in. And in the past, she cheated on me, and I have been insecure. That is probably the reason for our argument that day. A couple of things. She tried to take my dog on her way out. Now I'm sitting at work terrified she's going to change her mind and take my dog. I'm so lost. I feel like I'm going to lose everything. I almost did, at least. I'm trying really hard to act positive and keep her in a good mood. She seems happy right now, and said she felt relieved because she kept her insecurities and feelings pent up for over a year since she cheated, since she didn't feel like she had the right to open up and vent to me even though I wanted her to. It's a mess. I'm a mess. I just want to cry. Edit. Thank you guys for the comments and advice. I am reading some, but I will read them all after work. I just want to clarify that she believes the dog is partly hers because I got him a year and a half ago while we were dating, and she is usually over at least a couple of days every week. She loves my dog, and I do not think she had bad intentions. I just think she tried to leave spontaneously and was emotional. She just wanted her dog to give her comfort. I do not fault her too much for that, but I'm scared that she and my boy will disappear on me. I asked my parents if they could watch him for a little while, and they agreed. They love him. I will read all of your comments, take some time to think, and talk to her. I have not really made any decisions yet, except that my dog will stay with my parents starting today until I make that decision. I understand why some of you are saying that I should leave, but I am 27. This is my first love and first engagement. I do not want to give up this life, but if being together would make us suffer, I do not want that. I do not know what is best right now. Edit 2. Sorry I haven't read all the comments like I planned to. I am exhausted. Haven't looked at my phone much today. I read some comments that pushed me to bring my dog to my parents' house. It was very difficult to make that happen, but I think that was a good move. I know my boy is happy getting spoiled by the grandparents and playing with their dogs. We're going to bed now. We talked a lot, but it sounds like this will not work out. She will go back to her parents soon. I appreciate your listening to me vent and sending some advice.